9 months.
9 months. Wait, one sec. Let me get my nicotine gum on.
9 months of beautiful nicotine addiction.
9 months.
9 months. That's when I moved to Toronto.
Was it only 9 months ago?
Yeah, it feels like a while.
I know. Everyone complains about their lives moving so fast. But things happened to me like a month ago, and I'm like, that feels like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's because so many things are happening so quickly for us.
Yeah, I know. That's like that's the antidote to it, is just fill your life with things.
Yeah, and then
Don't do the same shit every day and you won't be depressed.
Then you live longer.
And you live longer.
Well, you have more memories at least.
Yeah, my life will feel longer.
Yeah, it does feel longer, like subjectively.
Yeah.
My life since I moved here. Like the last 9 months feel like years.
Yeah, no, same. Even the studio space we have now being 3 months old is baffling.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like it's my whole life.
Mm.
We got it in March 1st?
March 1st, yeah.
March, April, yeah, so 3.5 months.
Okay, so we've why don't we go back to the beginning?
Yeah, well, first things first. This is our 21st episode.
Right.
Which, by the virtue of still existing after 21 episodes, puts us in the top 1% of podcasts.
Yes.
So we wanted to do a little celebratory recap of what we've done with the podcast and also with the studio, with the Toronto community. Everything we've created so far.
Yes.
Just do a little recap.
How many podcasts do you know that stopped after episode 3? Probably the vast majority. 90% of people want to do a podcast, let's say.
Yeah.
And then like of those 90%, only like 10% will actually make the first episode.
Yeah.
And then of those 90%, most will give up after episode 3.
Because they go, oh, this
It's too hard.
No one's going to listen to this.
Yeah. And
this is stupid.
Well, realistically, no one probably is listening to it because you've only done 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And then of that, what, 1% make it to episode 20?
10% make it to episode 20. And then 90% of the remaining podcasts that make it past episode 3 don't make it past episode 21. So once you've made it past 21, you're good. You're set.
You're set.
You literally did it. You've beaten the vast majority of the population just by doing something for a long period of time. 20 weeks.
You were always pushing me to do a podcast, and I was always a little iffy because I was like, I don't think we should have I didn't want to have a podcast. I don't want to be so exposed so frequently because I like, my videos are very heavily edited and I portray myself in a very particular way, which can't be controlled in longer form discussion. Mm-hmm. But, Josh was telling me this. He was like, I'm really glad you did a podcast because I think it's just an interesting way of seeing another side of you. And, you managed to keep it up even in a long form discussion.
Yeah. No, it's a great format. I also hate podcasts.
Yeah, me too.
Most of them are fucking dog shit, god awful, shouldn't be created. It's baffling that so many people make so much money off of podcasts. They're horrible. Mm-hmm. But I think with this one, I really wanted to recapture the spirit of just talking.
Right.
I think we've done that quite well.
Yeah, I think it's terrible, but it's slightly better than all the other terrible ones.
Yeah, we're the least terrible podcast. It's nice to create community. Also, longer form discussions, educated people, learn things.
That's one of the things that we're doing on this podcast that no other podcast really is doing in terms of. We interview people who come by our studio. This is a community thing. It's like, hop on the podcast. We'll get to know you by talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Rather than just flying someone out and yelling at them, 2 options. You fly someone out you've never met before, yell at them, or listen to them with a complete open schizophrenic 3-year-old mind and just absorb whatever they have to say without questioning it.
And the vast majority of the time you do that over like a Discord call instead of in person.
Yeah.
And the in-person element adds a lot, I think, because, you do have to hang out with this person afterwards when you get in an argument with them in our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one fights like that in real life. Very few people do.
Very few people do. Well, maybe a few.
Maybe a few. Let's do chronological. People love backstory. People love lore.
Oh, yeah, we haven't really gotten into our lore yet.
Yeah, I think we've hinted at a lot of lore, but it's also been like very self-referential.
Yeah.
Where like me and you will just say stuff to each other, which is bad for an audience.
Yeah. Where should we start? With Dollarama?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Greg, you were born in 1997.
This is true. I was.
And you were a little boy.
I was a little boy.
And then you were a little teenager.
Then I was a teenager.
And then you became a tall teenager.
Tall teenager, yeah. This is all tracking so far.
And then you went to Carleton for journalism.
Mm-hmm.
Hated it.
It was fine.
It was fine.
I could have done anything.
You could have done anything, but you got a little black-pilled. on the idea of working?
I was blackpilled before that on working, and I was kind of encouraged to do university because that's what everyone else was doing, even though I had my own ambitions and dreams. But at the same time, again, I could have done anything. Like, it was just a way to kill 4 years.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And then you release Political Compass Rap to teach yourself about politics,
basically,
and exercise your love of spoken word poetry.
That's true.
And making music.
It was spoken word. Like, I had a spoken word background, and I was like, what if I put a really bad beat in the background? And that was apparently the key to success, because no one wants to listen to spoken word poetry unless there's a terrible beat.
So you did that.
Yeah.
Gets 3 million views.
Yeah.
And you somehow had the foresight to turn it into a web series.
That came very naturally to me, yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. The most impressive thing for your story is like that blowing up, and you're like, I know exactly how to stretch this as long as it possibly could be stretched.
Oh, I could have stretched it longer, believe you me. I just didn't want to.
But and it's a very graceful arc. Like,
yeah.
That's the Center Side series is a very graceful, like, tight little bow.
Yeah.
Wrapped. It didn't die. It didn't burn.
No.
It didn't live long enough to see it become the villain.
Yeah. That's how I feel about a lot of web series is they start and they never finish. A lot of long form projects don't get off the ground because the person doesn't have an end point in mind. They just want to milk it forever. So I was like, I'm going to go into this with an end point.
Yeah, great. And then I was born in 1998. I was a little boy.
Little boy.
And then I was a teenager. And I went to art school. And then I graduated art school in Halifax. Moved to Ottawa to do my master's degree. I did 1 semester of a master's degree. And before I moved to Ottawa, I thought, I know who lives in Ottawa. One of my favorite YouTubers, Drag. And if I run into Drag, this is the actual thought I had. If I run into Drag, I'm gonna befriend him. And I was like a bit ahead in my head that I'd befriend you.
Mm-hmm.
And then in November 2022, is that it? Does that track? No, 2021.
2021.
Yeah, 2021.
Yeah.
I ran into him instead of a Dollarama. And I saw you. And we got a picture together. And then I texted you, I DM'd you on Instagram that night. And I said, hey, do you want to hang out? I have no angle.
Yeah, no angle. I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't got any angle. I just want to hang out.
Yeah. We met at the Rideau Center. We went to a barbecue place. And you said we needed stimulation, and you were snapping your fingers and walking around. You said, we need stimulation. We need stimulation.
I don't remember that.
Yes. You're like, we need stimulation right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we walked through Byward Market in Ottawa, went to a barbecue place, got barbecue, talked about like loosely about philosophy and politics, in an endearing enough way that you invited me to a party that night. I went to a party at your friend's house, and then I went to a party with you the week after, and the week after we partied for 3 weeks straight.
Yeah.
3 weekends in a row. And I remember sitting with you and Max at the house parties that are by Algonquin College, the raves.
Yeah.
And Max said, I can't believe I only met you 3 weeks ago, because me and him had just talked for like 5 hours straight.
Mm.
Yeah. That's how we met. And then I said, Greg, we should start the CCCRU.
Yeah.
With me, you, and Sisyphus 55.
Yeah.
And you said, do something first. Because I had 60 subscribers.
Right.
And then you put me in a video.
Yeah.
Called I'll Get You Back Broism.
Yeah.
And my channel went from like 50 subs to 200 subs because I was in that video featured. And I thought, wow, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened to me. This is truly, I've gotten my break. And somehow spiraled that into a decent YouTube career thus far.
Yeah. Well, to be clear, I when you had 60 subscribers, I was like, in my mind, you already have 100,000. Like, because I saw your videos and I was like, okay, you've got it. Like, you know what you're doing. You also took my advice scarily well. Like, I remember I was giving you some sort of just general advice of you have to make some marketable videos before you can earn your artist bucks. And then you spend your artist bucks doing like genuinely creative stuff. But you have to like get eyes on you first. And you did take that to heart immediately, and you were like following what I was doing better than I was doing it. I remember I just kind of briefly mentioned like a pill tier list as something that would probably do well, and you made that like immediately before I even knew what was happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember talking to Max about that. I was like, yeah, he's like following the advice scarily well, and like he's like learning very quickly. And yeah, and then now look at you, you're making full-time YouTube bucks.
Oh, it's because you made me drop out of university at gunpoint.
yeah. I pulled a gun on Brogan and said, drop out of your fine arts degree.
Drop out of your master's degree. Yeah. No, it was a good combo of dropping out, and then my dad died, and then I was working at a burger place, and I was like the worst this like 4-month period of working at this burger place in fucking February in Ottawa. It was like -30. My dad died like a month prior, and then I have no university anymore. So for the first time in my adult life, I've had no intrinsic meaning.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great like magic combo as well to force me to do something actually decent with my life.
Yeah, that's the pro tip. Have your dad die, work at a burger place, drop out of school.
Yeah, but you make your life suck, so you have to do something like anything to make it better.
Mm.
So I moved to Toronto. You stayed in Ottawa.
I was mostly in Ottawa, but I was going to Vancouver a lot to visit JJ for
Yeah.
like a couple months at a time, 3-4 months at a time.
When did I get you to move to Toronto? When did I tell you to move? Was it the beginning of the summer?
I can't remember exactly. I remember JJ. I do remember though. I was talking about how Ottawa sucks. I need to leave Ottawa, and I kind of ran for mayor as a last hurrah of me being in Ottawa. And I always knew I wanted to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to figure out where that was going to be.
You wanted to go to Vancouver for a while.
Yeah, I was thinking I would go to Vancouver because there's a studio there that JJ is a part of, and I remember. That was very formative for me going to Vancouver and seeing what JJ was doing in terms of building community there. And you saw the studio when you visited Vancouver.
Yeah, great studio.
Yeah, great studio.
Really cool.
Very cool. But we did think, what if this had swag? What if this had more swag, like intellectual clout and
Yeah, bunch of 25-year-old white men who only care about politics and philosophy. That's what we thought.
I never thought the white man part.
Middle-class white boy.
Yeah,
So I should have said white boy. White boy's a different vibe than white man.
true.
25-year-old white boy. White boy
Okay.
swag.
And then, JJ told me to go to Toronto. And best decision I ever made, going to Toronto.
Yeah.
It was night and day compared to trying to build community in Ottawa, because building community was something that became very important to me during COVID, because I had identified as an introvert up until then. And then during COVID, I was looking on the Ottawa subreddit, and everyone was saying, I want to make sure the pandemic lasts forever so I never have to leave my house again. And I don't know, I've always had a kind of a build-up of angst towards the Ottawa lifestyle, which is get a government job where you do no actual meaningful work, and you just get kind of a good pay and you get good benefits, and that's what all my siblings did.
Yeah.
And I knew in my heart of hearts that's not what I wanted. I wanted to make art and build a community of artists and people who are doing cool things, and know those people and work with those people and have meaningful relationships with those people. Especially in Ottawa, the only meaningful relationship people really get is their significant other.
Yeah, Ottawa's a really strange place. Ottawa is uniquely strange, actually, based on anywhere I've ever lived or any like city's vibe I've seen. Ottawa's weird.
It's interesting to hear you say that, because I always wondered when I was in Ottawa, like maybe this is just a hometown syndrome kind of thing. Like,
No, it's uniquely weird.
Yeah.
I mean, for context, like I moved from Halifax, which is 200,000 people, and when I moved to Ottawa, I was like, oh, this is such an upgrade. Like it's 5 times as many people, huge multicultural center of the country, close to everything else. Like I'm so excited to like live in this big exciting city, and it's just in every way worse than Halifax.
Yeah, it's
on
crazy.
every level, like the people, the nightlife, the events you can do. It's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful city. That's, I think, what it has going for it.
yeah.
It'd be like a great place to raise a really boring couple of kids.
Yeah, good place to die.
Yeah.
That's what I always say.
Ottawa comfort.
But JJ told me to go to Toronto, and the idea was you, me, and Gokanaro go in on a place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was the original.
Yeah.
He was the original one. Him and Duncan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot there was the original 4.
And I think I don't know what happened with Duncan at that time, but I remember I made a group chat with you and Gokanaro in it.
Yeah.
And I think both of you guys, I was like, all right, I'm going to move to Toronto. Let's go in on a place. And both of you guys were like, we don't have enough money.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hadn't really blown up yet.
No, I had nothing.
So you didn't have any of the sweet technocapital to invest.
Yeah.
And Gokanaro was working on a video about Sneeko, which was taking forever.
Yeah.
So neither of you had money. And I was like, okay, well, it's over. I was just like, it's over. I'm offering myself. And I'm like, this is just another one of these examples of me trying to build community. And, I was getting in my head, victimizing myself as I normally do. Because I had tried and failed to build community so many times in so many different ways, and they all failed, and none of them were sustainable. And then you said, we can use my place as a kind of a prototype studio to gather interest, to go in on a larger space, and you offered that.
Yeah. What's funny is like that's one of those things that when I think back on me saying that, I have no memory of the conversation, because it was probably something I just said randomly.
Yeah.
Where it's like you just say things and then other people take it really, really seriously. I feel like that was totally, I'm like, because in my head, I'm like, why would the fuck would anyone want to work? Just like come to my apartment every day and work. And then like within 2 weeks, you were like at my front door with a computer and like a desk you bought online.
Yeah.
So really spearheaded that. But yeah, we worked out this place, this space right here. We just worked out of for 4 months.
Yeah.
Or 6 months.
6 months.
We worked out of here for 6 months. Like he would show up every day at 11, basically like around 11 in the morning. More and more people would trickle in. Like We're in Hell, Go Kanaru, One Dime, Ben from Canada, CJ the X, Duncan.
They just heard that we have something.
Yeah, they heard there's 3 people in a room working together, and that was enough for people to get so excited they like just wanted to hang out in a stranger's apartment and join working together in a space.
Yeah, that's all it took, just a space.
Yeah.
And when you're building community, I think offering something is important, like offering value to the people that come by.
Yeah.
Because, you have to have a reason to come by, and what we were offering is a place to co-work, which was valuable. People like Ben from Canada was saying that they like being around other people when they're working.
Yeah, same. Working alone sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. I mean, and internet people get this intuitively because a lot of our lives is just well, not anymore, but the average internet person stays in their room all day, editing videos of themselves, posting the video of themselves, reading comments about themselves.
3 feet from their bed.
Using those comments to get inspired on what their next video is going to be. So they have no second place, no third place, just one place.
Barely even a place. It's just your bedroom. It's barely even a place.
Barely even a place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not a surprise that people were taken by the concept. And yeah, we used that and we built up enough interest to get seven people originally to get this really cool space. I mean, that took a while. I remember in February you messaged me and you were like, "My vibe's off. Don't come by tomorrow." Like,
yeah, it is hard to have your space, but it was one of those things that I told myself I would never get angry at anybody because I was offering it.
Yeah, I
was like, I have absolutely no right to be upset at people for partaking in something that I like offered them.
Right. And I was thinking about that as well, because you're sacrificing for the community. That's where this started. A sacrifice, a personal sacrifice of this is no longer your personal space. You have that room over there where you sleep. Yeah. That's your personal space, but the rest of the place that you're paying for is for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, like I had no apartment for 6 months, which is fine because like so much came out of it.
Yeah.
I knew it was one of those things that like this will be a thing that if I woke up and was like, you know what, I'm done with this. I want my personal space back, Greg. I want my living room back. So can you guys leave? I'd shoot myself in my mid-30s thinking like, what the fuck did I just give up? Because I was cranky at not having a fucking apartment to myself. Bullshit.
Yeah.
So.
And then that was kind of the impetus to be like, okay, we said we were going to get a space around February. It's around February. It's time to lock this in. Time to seal the deal.
Yeah. Flick the switch.
And so Gokanara was down. Gokanara had gotten his video about Sneako out, I think, around then.
No, he released that, I think, the first month. That was like March.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Gokanara was down. One Dime was down. Duncan was down.
Sam was down.
Yeah. And who was the 7th?
We had Ben Chitty.
Oh, yeah. Ben Chitty was down. Yeah. So the 7 of us.
And Saplo.
Oh, and Saplo, yeah. Saplo flew in from Victoria to be our little live-in intern.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got an office space that Gokanara found with like a cool sound room, and as soon as we saw that, we were like, we're getting this one.
Yeah. I think what we did well there, we all collectively understood that it was one of those things that needed to be executed immediately.
Yeah.
We didn't have the money to be picky with the space. We didn't have the luxury of like the time to be picky with the space. It was like, we're doing this now or like people are going to start dropping out.
Yeah.
People change their minds on shit, especially the more people you get into a fucking, too many cooks in the kitchen, spoils the broth.
Yeah.
So we're like, boom. And like 1 week, it was like, let's find a space. Like a week later, we were moving in. It was immediate.
Yeah. And we've had this new space for 4 months. 3.5. Yeah. Lots of people have come by.
Lots of people have come by.
Lots of people have clout. We've had people fly out as this is like a mecca for people to meet Canadian YouTubers because we have all these connections.
Yeah, people have flown, like the sole reason they've flown to Toronto is to come to our studio.
Yep. JJ.
Yeah.
Joshua Citarella. Dandy Demon.
Dandy Demon, yeah.
And we have lots of more people
People
coming by,
people on the way, people scheduled in the future to come by.
which will leave as a surprise, but very cool people coming by.
Very cool people.
And yeah, I mean, our network has only kind of grown since then in terms of people we know, experiences we've had.
Yeah, the network only grows. Like the more people you get into the fold, and the fold isn't like some scheme. There's nothing, no one's sacrificing anything. It's like, do you want to like hang out?
Yeah.
Do you want to be friends? We all have common interests. Do you want to talk about it? There's no gimmick. We're not selling you anything, right? So it's so easy for people to be like, yeah, of course, right? And anyone we know, like, this is the value of really working as a group, right? There's no anything you think of as a significant cultural production. Like any music scene or art scene has been the product of like 5 or 4 people at the very, very least. Because you have 4, like I'd say 4 people. You have 4 times the connections. You have 4 times the opportunities. You don't get to you get to work with people. You get to all bounce off each other. You get to bounce if you make something, everyone can proofread it. Everyone can critique it. You can make way better work when people are watching your work all the time. It's so much better. It's like infinitely better. There is not a single downside to working with more people for whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not something people are aware enough of, I think, because they're watching stoicism videos on YouTube.
Fuck me, yeah.
Be alone in your room and grind all by yourself.
If you get sad because you're lonely, it's just a weakness of your
Weakness.
It's a weakness of your thought.
Yeah, just ignore it. Yeah. Maybe you're sad for a reason. Yeah. We've done countless cool things. I don't even know how many we can bring up.
Yeah, huge presentations where there's 20 people in the studio.
Premieres for YouTubers right before they published their video. CJ came by and we had a bunch of people. We had a projector and we had just like everyone could give feedback from your peers, which is important. Like not just random people on your YouTube comment section, but like other people who also make videos.
Yeah, Turkey Tom came over when Gokunaru was premiering a Sneeko video.
Yep.
We do the live shows.
Yeah.
How many live shows have you done?
Since I've been in Toronto, I've done about 4.
Yeah.
I did Ironic Rave. I did one in Ottawa. I did one in Montreal. I did one with CJ the X recently.
Yep.
And then we have in Horseshoe Tavern something coming up.
We do.
Where we do a live political compass debate, July 22nd. That's locked in.
That's locked in?
Yeah.
I'll talk about that more after I'll ask questions about that afterwards.
Yeah, I have you CC'd on the email chain, but yeah, that's set up.
Okay, sick.
I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, I did Ironic Rave 2 with Max. That was my first live show in Toronto, and we sold out. We got 100 people by for some ironic music.
Yeah, you sold the CJ live show was sold out.
That was sold out pretty much immediately.
Yeah, people drove in from Phoenix, Arizona to go to that. Someone drove from Phoenix, Arizona to Toronto, Ontario.
Yes,
to see that live show.
And got me a cabinet.
Made you a cabinet.
Made me a cabinet.
Shout out to that guy.
With their own hands.
That person.
Yeah.
17 different types of wood.
17 different types of wood. Some schizo symbolism etched into it. Yeah, and I think it's been useful as well, just for my clients, for my calls, to be able to bring them by and say, hey, building community is not impossible. Definitely very difficult. I had to bang my head against the wall for many years, but not impossible. And hey, look at all these people. They're all doing it. They've all made it. They're all making money doing what they like doing. And we're all together doing it.
And now it's cemented. It's one of those things that we all understand the value of what we're doing. Mm-hmm. We all understand like this unique place in time we've put ourselves in and what we've really done. No one's going to give that up because they're like lazy. Yeah. No one's going to give that up because they, I will starve. I will eat ramen 3 days a week before I give up my like portion of the rent for the studio because it's that important to me. Yeah. It's such a valuable asset in my life. Yeah. It's the most valuable asset in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, speaking of sacrifices, like you had to get this studio, have a corporation, right? I was the only guy with a corporation. So ultimately, this all fell on me financially. Yeah. And I had to, technically we're splitting it 8 ways, but there's no specific contract saying people can't just leave. It would be, I don't think anyone would, but you can hypothetically just leave, and I'm signed on in this lease. So I am all in. And I also like cover some extra stuff because for now I have the most money. So I cover the Wi-Fi and a little bit extra in terms of making sure everyone only has to pay $500. Yeah. And that's a sacrifice. I'm stressed about money, but also nothing else makes sense right now. Yeah. It's the thing I feel like I have to do.
And I think everyone in the studio has made more money increasingly since they've joined the studio. Like the monthly income has gone up pretty regularly for everyone.
I think so.
I think that's safe to say.
Even JJ's more productive here.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because he's got his own studio. But he just finds like being around us stimulating and like he's enjoying himself more because JJ really belongs in our studio, not in his studio.
Yeah, we got to steal JJ for our own studio.
Yeah. I mean, his studio is basically just like him and a couple of other people and that's it.
Yeah.
We have a much bigger studio, more connections. And more swag. We will get a Wikipedia page called Toronto Art Scene 2023.
Yeah, the 2020s Toronto Art Scene.
Yeah, 2020s Toronto Art Scene, referencing the CCCRU.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's crazy, actually. You know, I pray.
Mm-hmm.
I pray every night before I go to bed. And I always have this experience pretty much every night where I do it habitually. And then sometimes you feel like I do like a gratitude prayer. And sometimes I feel like I don't want to do it. And the second I like get down to pray, it like what happened to me that day, just I'm like, holy shit, all this stuff happened to me today.
Yeah.
Like all these great things that 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I would have never imagined having these opportunities hit me. And now I'm just like, they're so frequent that I'm like, oh, what happened today? And then the second I think of it, it's like, holy fuck, so much happened to me today.
That is important. Gratitude. I mean, I'm cognizant of like, I don't want to just immediately adjust to where we are and start getting dissatisfied because I'm not at the next level. Like where I was 2 years ago is totally different from where I am now in terms of my goals and my community and like where I'm headed and how I feel about my future. So yeah, I'm trying not to. And I remember I came back to my apartment one day because I leave my phone at the studio. I don't have Wi-Fi at my place, so I cannot access the internet at my place, basically.
Yeah.
And I always leave my phone because I don't like doom scrolling at 2 a.m. So I have a couple of hours every night before I go to bed where I can just reflect on my own thoughts. I also go to a meditation center around here. And I was just like, I literally jumped for joy. I was like, yes, like I finally got what I wanted in terms of building something important, building something beyond myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my dream with YouTube as well. For my very first video, it was like the end goal was like I know I have a work ethic. I know I have ideas. I know I have the gall to make stuff. And if I can do that, I can get people to talk about this stuff with. Mm-hmm. My main goal from the very beginning was I want a community of people. I want to meet cool people. And I can't do that in Halifax, Nova Scotia, drinking every night and going to a tiny art school. Yeah. I have to like throw myself out there as much as possible.
Yeah.
And now it's at the point where like I get an email from someone like really fascinating once a week, being like, I saw your stuff. This is dope. If you want to call and chat sometime, let's do it.
Yeah.
I run into people and it's so much easier to like, you know, we ran into Matt Johnson, the director of the Blackberry biopic, Nirvana the band, the show. I ran into him on the street and I was filming a video. And I was like, hey, man, I have a YouTuber studio. We're all like artists, creatives, writers. If you want to come by and just check it out and say hi one time. And he was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was like nothing. There was no pitch. I was just like, just that on its own was cool enough to get this guy who is like actually famous, genuinely famous, to just show up for no reason.
Yeah. So imagine you had 10 times the subscribers, but no friends.
Yeah.
And you're like, come over to my house and see my studio. That would not have flown.
Yeah.
And it also helped that he was aware of JJ McCullough. Like the connections was important, and like also ran into CJ. So like enough things happened.
That was before though. Matt didn't know that JJ was.
Oh, so just knowing about the studio,
yeah, that was just he didn't even know that CJ was a part of it. I was just like, I have a studio of like creators. If you want to come check it out,
and I know what we're doing is important because I get messages all the time from people who are peers of mine who are bigger than me, impressed by what I've built, who are wondering about how they can do something similar where they are. All the time, people are like, how did you do it? I need community too. And I don't often know what to tell them besides just, this is the story. Like, this is what we did.
Yeah. Just do it. It's not, I always fall back on the mantra of no one's coming to save you. Like, you have to do it yourself. You have to save yourself. No one will open the door for you. No one's going to give you an opportunity that will really change your life. You have to facilitate it in your own life.
Yeah.
And through any means necessary.
When we were locking down this studio, there was a lot of little hiccups. Like, they wanted to charge me an extra couple $1,000s out of nowhere. And I was like, okay. Because I knew that if at any point we backed down, the studio didn't materialize, it wasn't going to happen. Or it would have taken like 3, 4, 5 months. And like, look how much has happened in the last 4 months.
Yeah,
So-
we've increased our aura by 10,000%
Yeah,
in 3 months.
Our aura is kind of off the charts right now, and it's only getting larger and larger.
Our aura is like hitting. It's expanding from Toronto. Our aura is like hitting Los Angeles and New York.
Yeah,
It's baffling.
this is the place to be if you are a Canadian YouTuber doing anything cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just the place to be. If you resonate with any of our content, like and you have no homies where you are, and you're making YouTube videos and you're doing well for yourself, like you're self-sufficient, this is the place to be.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else you should be.
Look, there's 7 of us who work in a studio, and then the outer circle of that is probably 40 people
Yeah,
who
around
are
40.
now all friends with each other and know of each other.
And all 40 people who are either very talented, creative people who are just getting off the ground, or already established creators.
Yeah, I think like I think of like a Cybertrash.
Yeah.
Like he came in through me because he liked my work, and then
Yeah.
it's like now he's just hanging out with everyone. Hangs out with each other outside of the studio. It's not just the studio. It's like we literally have a circle, like a giant circle of people who all know each other.
Yeah. The outer circle is just as impressive as the inner circle.
Yeah, the outer circle is crazy. There's just like everyone knows each other.
Yeah.
But even just like without even because you're saying getting the studio and the money stuff. Without even the money stuff, like you don't you need $0 to start this.
Yeah.
You need $0. Just like put it out there and try hard. I mean, like I gave the space, but you also had the commitment to show up every day too. I think without you showing up every day like consistently, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
As well as it did. I'm sure like I was busy. I also have a day job. Like I would have been like, not today, and it would have fallen to the wayside. You were really committed.
Yeah.
I had the space. Like these things, the barrier is not there.
Yeah.
To make this happen, there is no barrier. There's no financial barrier. There's nothing stopping you from just like getting the things you wanted of life at a very fundamental level. If that's just community, you can do it.
Yeah, you just gotta keep your eyes peeled. You find what you look for,
Yeah.
If you're not looking for it, if you're not aware of it, that's why I talk about this all the time. And it's to bring awareness to it. Once you're aware of the problem, then it's only a matter of time before you solve it. But you have to be like looking at it.
Yeah.
It can't just be this thing that's sort of bothering you in the back of your mind. That's why I'm like putting my finger in the wound of your isolation. It's so that you're like, oh, this is uncomfortable. I don't like this. I'm like, because hopefully if I do this enough, then you'll actually do something about it.
Yeah. Nothing happens when you're alone.
Nothing happens when you're alone.
You know what happens when you're alone? You make you make $1 million chasing a shitcoin whale.
Yeah.
And then you have $1 million and you're still alone.
Yeah.
You know what happens? You get 2 million subscribers making like god awful content on YouTube that is just completely sensationalist and actually has no substance. And then you have 2 million subscribers and you're alone.
Yeah.
Nothing changes.
Well, what changes is you have a really good goon cave.
Yeah, you have a nice gamer chair and you have a fucking 4090 Ti. That's what changes.
Yep.
You can do what you're doing, but just faster.
I'm really glad I made it with you specifically, because you're the right person for me to go have a partnership with, because you are very focused and diligent in a way that I am not.
Yeah.
And that was helpful for me to be around, because you adopt the characteristics of the people you spend a lot of time with, and I'm like, I want to spend a lot of time with you because you have the right mentality towards this stuff. You understand what will do well in a way where it's like it's kind of scary. Like you think about the title thumbnail of your videos before you even start researching the video, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I just knew I wanted to be around someone like that, someone who was diligent and had like a vision for the future. That was really helpful for me as well. Like you see where you're going in 6 months. Sometimes you can't help but live 6 months in the future, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, same for you. Like I was in art school, I got burnt out on so many artists, because artists are like genuinely the best and worst type of people, right? Like so many creative people who are like genuinely really intelligent, really in ways that I can't even fathom how they come up with this genius that they come up with, and just have no fucking idea how to execute it, and have no ambition, and are narcissists. And I felt like my entire experience in art school was just meeting these people over and over again. And then I meet you, who like you have this creative genius side of you, but then you also just have like the wherewithal to execute it. And that felt so rare to me.
Yeah.
So it's like really great combination of traits.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I really value making ideas real, because I don't really value the idea in of itself, and everyone has ideas. What I value, what I find impressive, is people who actually do things.
Yeah.
That's impressive to me. As someone who has more ideas than he can make, I find that impressive, because on my deathbed, I'm going to be like, I should have made more of these real. Like that's what I'm going to be thinking. I should have made more of my ideas actually happen instead of just existing in my head and kind of dying in my brain.
Yeah, I know. It's so. I mean, Matt talked about that when he was over, but I feel like we've both talked about that on our own as well. This idea of like artists or like anyone, like a business idea, like anyone who's like an all creative thinker in any avenue or facet has an idea, and when they have that idea, it's literally perfect. Like when you have an idea, it is in its most perfect form. You can only sully the idea from there. It only gets more complicated and more redundant and more paradoxical as soon as you try to like develop the idea. But once you have the idea, it's perfect. And so many people, like most people, are too scared to execute the idea because they know it's not going to be what it was in their head.
Yeah.
And they won't do it.
No.
But just fuck it up.
Yeah.
Fuck your ideas up.
Yeah, it'll never be as you envisioned in your head, unless you're editing the video, in which case you'll often say like, "This is exactly how I had it in my head." So, like, wow, this intro is literally 1-to-1 how I had it in my head, and it's just as good as I thought it would be.
Sometimes, yeah, you gotta lay off that a little bit though. It's good. Make some bad, make some mid sometimes.
Yeah, you can make mid.
Make mid. I think as a creative exercise, make mid 1 out of 5 times, and just to get used to the idea of making mid.
Yeah, CJ believes that.
Yeah, you gotta make mid.
Right.
If you don't make mid, you'll never get used to it. It'd be crushing.
CJ made that 10 types of water video.
I love that video.
Because they were like, I need to make some mid.
That's actually, that video inspired me so much. Because I was like, I can't believe this person made this like shitty facade just to talk about that the video of the brothers playing.
Yeah.
In the video they talk about like 10 types of water, and then they go to like number 6, the water from Kirby's Air Ride, and then talk about like the value of growing up with a brother for 20 minutes. And it's just beautiful. It's so well executed.
Yeah.
But same thing with like my 10 archetypes of Gen Z video. I made that to get out of a slump because I knew I could just like talk out of my ass for 12 minutes and no one would care.
Yeah.
And when people tell me that's like my best video, I'm like, I've never thought about that video again. It has 500,000 views. I never thought about it. I never even watched it again after it came out. I was like, that's whatever. It's really weird how that works out, actually. I'm sure you have stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The things that do the best are often just kind of things that you just cranked out as part of a routine or just to get yourself out of a slump.
Yeah.
I know that I have a video on my second channel that a lot of people signed up for my calls afterwards after seeing, sometimes without even knowing that I was drag, which is kind of weird.
It's actually insane to me that you like have so much conviction even without the reference of your fame that someone could see you talk about art and be like, I need this guy's fucking advice.
Yeah, like 3 people have signed up so far without knowing that I'm drag, and then afterwards like, wait a second, you have another channel? And they're like, what? Like, why did you sign up if you didn't know I was actually making art and just talking about art? But whatever. But yeah, I made a video which is like the process of you doing something and your idea becomes less and less perfect, and then you want to return to the womb and like escape and go back to a new idea. And like, that's a video I made because I was escaping an idea. And even then, like, that video did well because it's just like sometimes what you're doing to distract yourself is actually useful as long as you're doing something.
Yeah.
But you should still get things done, whatever you intended to do.
Yeah, always produce stuff. Never stop making stuff. That's the true. The second if that ball is rolling, it's just like it takes so hard. It takes so much time to get it rolling again. Once you stop rolling,
yeah,
you gotta stay consistent.
Yeah.
Except that it's your new life. Like when you start making stuff, I feel like there's that they talk about this with addiction, right? Addiction and identity is that the alcoholic who believes they are a sober alcoholic has a much harder time staying sober than someone who believes they're sober now. Right? If you're like, oh, I'm a drunk and I'm just sober now and I'm trying hard to stay sober, but like deep down I'm a drunk, right? You identify as the thing you're trying to fight against versus if you're like, I don't drink anymore. Like I stopped drinking. It's way easier to stay sober. So like, as an artist or as someone who is just beginning to be productive or just beginning to turn their life into a new direction, if they think like, oh, I'm actually this lazy piece of shit, whatever, I'm just doing this thing to see if it works, you're not going to be able to stay consistent. If you just reimagine like, oh, this is my life now. I now just make things weekly. For the rest of my life, I just make things now. This is who I am. It's so much easier to get it done.
Yeah.
If you have 50 subs, tell people you're a YouTuber.
Yeah.
If you have no subs, just tell them. If you made like 2 videos, be like, I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah. I mean, if you make art, you're an artist. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
If you think about making art, though, you're not an artist.
Yeah. If you think about the YouTube videos you want to make for 5 years,
then you're a thinker.
You're paralyzed.
You're a dreamer.
I'm just a dreamer.
Yeah. Dreamers don't get into the studio, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. I think, yeah, even like there's no prerequisite. It's not like someone would have to have any large amount of followers or anything to get into the studio. If they just make dope shit.
Yeah. They just literally all they have to do is pass the vibe check.
Yeah.
And by the way, if anyone's listening to this and they're thinking, wait a second, Brogan just recognized him and now he's here. Yeah, that's all it took. So all you had to do was find me and make a good pitch, and you didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, just like collapse the parasocial to the social. But yeah, I was, when I met you, I was really cognizant of not being fucking weird, but I also wasn't like a obsessed fan. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I like this guy's work.
No, I knew immediately you'd fit well in with my group in Ottawa.
Yeah.
And you did. And you were kind of reserved at first. I thought you were more of like an ENTP type, like me, like just kind of like going with the flow, because you weren't really like putting yourself out there too much. And then your friends came.
Oh yeah, I love that story.
And you immediately went into like commander mode, chaos commander mode, and did unspeakable things that I won't mention on this podcast.
Yeah, my friend's band was touring and they had a show in Ottawa, and I'd gotten all of my friends from Nova Scotia to stay at my 1-bedroom apartment in Gatineau. There was 9 of us in that apartment. I had people sleeping in my car.
Yeah.
We were like sandwiched like sardines on the floor in sleeping bags. And we went to go see my friend's show, and then your only context of me was like with your friend group, which
Yeah.
like I'm not the kind of person I like going with the flow when I meet new people. I like vibing it out.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to like make friends, is to not be yourself in a radical sense all the time.
Yeah.
But I had my friends around me.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta freak out. I gotta let loose. I gotta cause so much property destruction.
There was some property destruction.
There's a lot of property
destruction. There was a lot of public property destruction.
There's a lot of me commanding property destruction.
Yeah. And I was like, oh wow, okay. Now I kind of like sort of like, yeah, I got a better vibe for your strengths in a way of commanding, of leading. I mean, you're a good leader.
Yeah. But yeah, you also you balance me out really well actually in that sense, because you're much more emotional. And I feel like I was talking about this with JJ. Men, when left alone, do 2 things. They either become like psychopaths or they never leave their house. That's like the 2 paths you have if you have no meaning in your life as a man.
Yeah.
Right? And my path, like I'm not like a cruel, psychopathic, like emotionless person, but I default towards that when I'm like left alone. When I'm like, when my life becomes idiosyncratic, I get very like, I've gotten in the past very angry, reactionary, like just an asshole.
Yeah.
And you balance it out in me very, very well. Because you're very emotional. You're much more. Do you find when you're left alone, you withdraw, right?
Yeah, I get sad.
Yeah, you get sad and just stay in your house.
Yeah.
Without purpose.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was killing me having no community.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that, like intuitively, that this was not a way to live your life. This isn't how we're supposed to live.
Yeah.
Alone in a box. That's not right.
That's
and
not
I
right.
felt like I was psycho for thinking that, because everyone was so happy in their box.
Oh, yeah. I guess some people. It's good to be kind of depressed about it, because it's crazy that someone could not be depressed about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm neurotic. So but I don't necessarily view that as a bad thing. I view that as my body is like yelling at me as to what is wrong.
Yeah.
Like I just feel it intuitively. And so that's why my body was yelling at me about, you have no friend. You don't have a lot of meaningful connections in Ottawa, and you can't stay here anymore, and you need to build something.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And now I'm much more satisfied in that regard. I'm not lonely anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel lonely anymore. I did feel lonely my entire life though. But now I'm around people who like understand me kind of, and I'm meeting people who more and more who understand me. And yeah, it feels good to understand people and be understood in like a deep way.
Yeah.
And that's what you can get with community. It's like the most important thing you can do if you've got all your other bases covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, as long as you like, food, water, shelter, but then community.
Yeah. Yeah. Get the next layer of the hierarchy. No, I mean, I was the same in Halifax. Like I was, but to the opposite end of just like drunk every night, drugs, partying, like the other extreme of just like, it's like the escapism horseshoe. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like you're either going to play roguelikes for 12 hours a day, or you're going to do meth. those are your two paths. As a man.
Roguelikes were my meth.
Yeah. Roguelikes were your meth. Meth wasn't my meth. I think Coke was my meth.
Coke was your meth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that 5-hour conversation you had with Max on Coke? No. Okay.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. We've done a lot. We could go over all the cool things we've done, but it'll just be kind of gratuitous at this point.
Yeah.
We threw a big party in an abandoned house.
We did throw a big party in an abandoned house. It's probably the biggest party. I could say that's the biggest party in Toronto that night.
Maybe.
I think that's a safe. As far as the fun, the clout, the situation.
Yeah, in terms of aura, it was definitely the biggest.
Yeah, biggest aura in Toronto that night. I think
by far the most subscribers in any house.
Yeah, absolutely. We threw a clout house party where we played grounders and made arts and crafts.
Yes.
And also had a rave room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And we'll do it again. To more extreme levels. This is the thing with the community. Yeah. Is that like we're speaking of it because this is the peak right now. It's like this today is the peak.
Today is the peak.
Today is the peak of what we've done because it's so exciting. It's so exhilarating. It grows so exponentially fast that every day is the single greatest day of what we've done so far. So we're talking with all this excitement. We're speaking of this the way people who have had like a 20-year-long career speak of their past.
Yeah.
This has been 3 months.
3 months.
I'm sure in like 3 months from now, or the next time we do like an update episode of the podcast, we'll be like, holy fuck. Like it'll be like more extreme, more crazier stories, crazier encounters, crazier people coming by.
Yeah. We get funding from the government or some tech billionaire.
Some technocapital. If there's any technocapital holders listening,
yeah, we would accept a drop of technocapital.
We may have aura, but you know, money's a little tight.
Yeah,
a lot of us are still making CAD. We got to make that USD.
We got to make USD.
Covering the rent would be good.
Yeah.
If any benefactors want to just like give their money to dope shit that's actually significant and it's going to cause change in the world in a meaningful way, insane cultural change, pay our rent.
Yeah, pay our rent.
Just pay our rent.
It'll pay itself back.
Yeah, we will pay you back. I will make we'll do something to
pay you back. But that is the reason that I was eager to, kind of sacrifice money to make this happen, is because I know it's a investment that'll pay off.
Yeah.
It's already paying off.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to pay off. I mean, like it's paying off so fast. I'm sure all of us would be happy to reimburse anything you've had to pay thus far.
Yeah, once we're all millionaires then.
Which is about, 16 months away.
16 months, yeah.
16 months until we're all millionaires.
You have like this vision of the future that I don't have, where you're like 16. That's the number.
Yeah, 16 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe Rogan before you're 30. That's like the new Forbes. That's the new Forbes 30 under 30s being on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Because the Forbes 30 under 30 is just Nepo babies.
Gonna be on Destiny.
Oh yeah, Greg's gonna go on Destiny's podcast.
Yeah, there's so much stuff happens in the
Yeah, we forgot. You just forgot to like. We've been talking for 48 minutes about all the things we've done, and you forgot like, oh
yeah,
you're gonna be on Destiny's podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on Destiny. I'm gonna canvass for Jamal Bowman, who's a progressive senator. Jamal Bowman.
We're going to VidCon at the end of June. We'll be in Anaheim for VidCon. Both of us.
We have a huge VidCon cloud house. There's so much we have not talked about.
Oh yeah, we have a cloud house.
So much happens, and like I went into this being like I should remember all the things that have happened, but like so much happens. That's why it's important to do the gratitude stuff at the end of the night, just to remember.
Yeah, it is really important just to recount what happened, because it's like the insanity of the fact that we have cloud house in Anaheim.
We have a mansion.
We're renting a mansion full of just like famous YouTubers.
Yeah.
To the point now where like other people are finding out about it peripherally and being like, oh, I want.
Yeah. How do I get
part of that? How do I get into this cloud house that is the biggest thing that orbit VidCon?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's absolutely baffling.
Truly baffling.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the guy that emailed you recently?
What, the guy today?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's like another thing. This guy just emailed me today. I'm sure he's listening. He's like a record producer he recognized a band shirt I was wearing, and it's like a more niche, like if you know the band shirt, you're like a big fan, like one of those bands. It's not a band you like casually listen to. And he was like, hey, I'm their producer. I've also produced all this other music. I also like produce all these podcasts, and I work for this company. If you want to like ever talk about like any advice, I looked up like he's a huge deal on his website, and I was like, what the actual fuck? This guy is just like, I like your work. Let's talk. Like those are the kind of opportunities you get when you just like stick to shit. You have high spirit. You're creatively engaged. You believe in yourself. Is that like you produce quality things, and people see the quality things you produce, and they go, oh, I like this guy. This is like, you could have 3 million subscribers and make garbage, and no one's ever gonna be like, oh man, I love your work, or like I love what you do. Or you can have like, not that I'm like, not I'm the best thing to ever walk the earth, but I feel like I put a lot of myself in my videos. Mm-hmm. I put a lot of spirit behind it. I work very hard on them. I try to produce like the highest quality thing I can possibly produce at that time. And people recognize it. People recognize that with you. People recognize it with Gokanaru and Duncan. The amount of people that reach out to all of us all the time, being like, I love what you're doing something genuinely interesting and fascinating, is baffling. All you have to do is put yourself out there and try hard.
Yeah.
And be prepared to fail for 2 years.
Yeah. And notably, there's no one making AI slop that comes to our house because they wouldn't be invited.
Yeah. There's no one who makes, like, there's no one who says they're a content creator is a dangerous word. Because you can be a content creator and just have, like, 15 TikTok accounts that make Minecraft obstacle course, today I learned Reddit AI reads. And you can make $400,000 a year doing that. And you can probably collectively have like 50 million followers on TikTok doing that. But no one cares about you.
Where's the swag?
No one's following you.
No swag?
There's no swag. There's no swag. There's no clout. There's no aura. There's no spirit.
No, none of those 4 things.
You need those 4 things.
Yeah. We're all building a collective tulpa here.
Yeah.
A collective clout spirit.
Yeah, we have an aura egregore.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to title this podcast. I already mentioned, but like, that's the benefit of the community is you have 8 people. That's 8 times the aura.
Yeah.
As long as one of you isn't fucked. But we've done, again, just have common sense.
Yeah, we've done pretty good about keeping out fucked people.
Yeah, I love everyone I've met.
Yeah, I like everyone I met as well. I love everyone I met.
Yeah, I do too. I
have deep affection for these people.
Yeah, it's actually, that's something that always surprises me as someone who is still very new to YouTube and meeting other people that I've watched peripherally for a while, is that they're like cool people in real life. Mm-hmm. I feel like the pop culture really sets you up to think that people who make dope shit are assholes, or people who like never meet your heroes, that kind of stuff. You were like one very similar to how the idea I had of you before I met you was like close enough. It wasn't like you're radically different. JJ, same thing, like very kind person. I mean, like, everyone I meet's like so kind, and creative and nice and like genuinely good people. I haven't met anyone who's been the dick to me. Yeah.
Well, that's you were saying like you tend towards sociopathy alone, but what I like about you is that you're very in tune with the values of yourself, and like you're not just like amassing power for the sake of amassing power. Like you have like core human values that you're helping flourish by amassing power, by like working really hard and also doing all these cool things. And then it seems like it's for a good end goal, which I can like get behind.
Yeah.
Instead of like just like give me all for me, like sociopathy. Like I never got the vibe that you were gonna like backstab me or something. And people, I get a lot of weird kind of resistance type comments about the idea of building community, and sometimes it's like, well, what if I find a community and then there's mean people in it, or what if how are you gonna react when your community ends? Like if my community ended right now, I would have gotten so much value out of it. Like I would have no regrets, and it's not gonna end right now. It's gonna keep going. But like the idea that it might end at some point really freaks out people. Like, oh, what if there's like a scandal, what if there's a disaster? And it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, what I've gotten out of it so far has been worth it. Yeah. Period.
I know you can't undo the unless you like do something really bad. Unless you do something royally awful. You can't undo the success and the benefits and the opportunities you've gotten from having a community. Like we can't if everything blows up tomorrow for some reason, we still can't undo like what we've done for the last 3 months.
Yeah.
That will never be undone.
Yeah.
It's always a net benefit. Like it's always going to be a net benefit. Unless you get a bunch of TikTok slop AI people in a room together.
I've been collecting questions and comments people have about community on my second channel. I want to read you a few and get your take.
Oh, do you have their usernames so we can address them?
Mock them publicly.
No, not mock. Maybe do like a little bit of a Q&A session.
Yeah. I don't know if I have their.
That's fine.
But let me just pull it up.
They know who they are. They asked the question. I like this bird's eye view. Yeah, we should have a 5th angle that's actually just the tops of our heads from the ceiling down.
Yeah, just our bald spots.
Or like third person view, like first person view cameras on tops of our heads, so it's like us talking to each other like this.
I would like to get some more wacky camera angles personally.
I would love to have, it'd be really funny to have like whenever I'm talking, if we could somehow program this of like a camera from my first person angle, a face cam directly attached to my head.
Yeah.
at the same time. So it's like you can live your life as me.
That'd be awesome.
When Josh is on, says something genius, and I'm like, wow, man, that's actually really cool. I don't offer any insight. You can see how it feels to be me.
Well, before I read this, where are we going with this? What do you see the future for us to be like? What Hyperstition is?
Hyperstition the future.
Yeah, for our community.
I think that we're just going to be increasingly known. I mean, that's the other thing too, is like we have 8 people, 8 times the connections. Those connections, that's like, let's say 2 people, that's like 16 tentacles. That's just like, it's so easy to get heard of once you're talking to that many people. I see us all doing well. I see us all collectively doing well from being known, being associated with each other. I've already watched us influence each other's ideas in a meaningful way where like, we're not just, it's becoming what should like be my ideal. We're not just 8 YouTubers co-working together. We're like, there's a common philosophy forming through us. I see that forming. There's like, we're basically forming like a philosophy group, or the same way like other philosophy scenes started or other art scenes started. Mm-hmm. I just see us all doing well, just doing well. Like,
meaningfully influencing and creating things with other people who are in our community. And you can see like, I mean, even in this very room, JJ filmed a video here. Sisyphus55 and Alessandria filmed a video on this, couch, and they saw some of your albums or something, and people were like connecting the dots. Like, wait, is that the same as like these guys know these guys who know these guys, and they're all making things together, and they're all talking, and they're all sharing ideas, and they're all influencing each other? Yeah. Like, yeah, I think just more of that probably.
Yeah, Daniel Caesar listened to one of our podcast episodes.
Yeah, we didn't even mention that because so much shit has happened.
Yeah, I know. Daniel Caesar listened to one of our podcast episodes.
Yeah, friend of the show.
Daniel Caesar. If you're watching,
come on down.
Come on down. Do some horseshoe theory with us.
We'll have Daniel Caesar on the same episode as Dandy Demon Stalker. Okay, here's some community questions.
Okay.
Oh yeah, haha, just go out and get friends. How do I stop assuming I'm annoying everyone? This is a serious question by @fairhead9865.
How do you stop feeling like you're annoying everybody? If you get a sense that you're annoying everyone, you probably are a little bit annoying, but not too annoying to have friends. So learn to let people talk. And here's my philosophy for going into a new job, which has always done me very, very well, is that never walk into a situation expecting to stand out. Always try to blend in immediately.
Okay.
And not in a sociopathic way, but just like, it's not your place when you meet new people to yap or to like try to be the center of attention or to try to change things, try to change the way things are run or try to change people's minds. Just like be agreeable for a little bit. And then once people like you, you can let a bit more of yourself out. Yeah.
I'd say just make a community with annoying people. That's what I did. Big day for annoying people.
We are annoying people.
Yeah. What if everyone around you is a dick? Genuine question. At latex gloves.
Well, okay, latex gloves. Everyone around you is annoying. If everyone's around you is annoying?
What if everyone around you is a dick?
Is a dick. That's probably not going to be the case.
It might be a problem with you, latex gloves.
Yeah, if everyone's around you a dick, if everyone around you is a dick all the time, it's your issue.
Yeah.
If you don't have any friends and you think everyone is going to be a dick to you, society has taught you that bad people are everywhere. And I've very rarely I've met bad people. I'm not going to deny the existence of bad people. I've yet to meet someone I've met like maybe 2 genuinely evil people my entire life.
Yeah.
I can think of 2 people who I'm like, that person is like genuinely completely misanthropic, only in it for themselves.
And even then, they're just mentally ill. They have antisocial personality disorder. Sad. We should have empathy. Unfortunately, it seems easier to go at it alone rather than annoying or being annoyed by everyone around you. At Hanny Bite.
Get the idea of being annoyed by other people out of your fucking head. That's just such a huge cope.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be annoyed by other people because they're not you. And they're going to say things that you don't agree with. And they're going to do things that you don't do because they're not you alone in your room. Yeah. Or your YouTube comments where they exist just as this like nebulous thing that you can fucking pay attention to.
Yeah. So they say it seems easier to go at it alone rather than annoying or being annoyed by everyone around you. It is easier, but it's easy in a way that makes everything else so much harder forever. So think about that.
Do you think the best things in life are easy?
Yeah.
Of course it's easier. It's easy to be a fucking hateful alone. It's easy. The easiest thing for a human to do is be hateful alone.
Yeah, it is easy.
But it's the absolute path of least resistance you can possibly take.
Yeah, and it doesn't even like it's easy in the moment, and then the rest of your life gets worse and harder. So think about that.
And then you're alone on your deathbed.
When you said that as you open up to a community, your irony poisoning will eventually slip and you'll get control of it back again. What if I fear, or I know it'll happen, that I will lose or at least distance myself from said community inevitably? So what I said was, good point. I would say take this logic further and never love out of fear of losing love, never hope in fear of being wrong, and don't bother living because you'll eventually die. Have fun.
That's the perfect response to that question.
Some people just don't have time and patience for quote-unquote homies, just me, Nate. Yeah, it is just you, Nate, huh?
Some people don't have time. What are you busy doing?
What do you do? Yeah, what are you so busy with?
Fuck, let's say
You have so much time.
you're conscious. Let's say you're conscious 17 hours a day. What the fuck are you doing with 17 hours? You don't have time to talk to someone for half an hour.
Are you too busy dropshipping? Making AI content? Like, what are you doing?
Gooning?
Roguelikes?
Doing cocaine?
Watching YouTube videos? Yeah, I don't know. I have a very hard time believing that this guy knows people that want to spend time with him. That was just funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. That's a W for annoying people everywhere.
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel the same way about myself.
So sure of himself, don't care what he thinks. Most people are a pain in the ass, same as what we said before. If most people are a pain in the ass, you know.
Yeah, you got something to figure out. You just do mushrooms.
Um,
I'll prescribe mushrooms professionally in Minecraft.
That's all right. One more. This is.
Are they all just different kind of like riffs on the same gripes?
Yeah, it's all kind of the same stuff.
What if I'm annoying? What if everyone hates me, and then what if I hate everyone else? Is like basically the issue.
Yeah, that seems to be the major points of resistance. And then one person says, you need constant entertainment and can't sit quietly with yourself. That's sad. So this is an introvert cope.
Oh, you think you can sit quietly with yourself? I'd love to see how many introverts actually just like genuinely enjoy spending time with themselves that isn't with a laptop on their lap, or a phone in their hand.
Yeah, here's the introvert making that comment, alone in their room.
I enjoy my own company.
No homies. That's my new gotcha. I'm like, post homies. Like before I listen to your philosophy or advice, before I hear about what you have to say about politics or how to live a good life, do you have friends?
Yeah.
Because if no, I'm tossing your entire ideology in the trash.
Having friends is
I can just ignore you.
Yeah, having friends is the ultimate litmus test. If you have no friends, your opinions don't matter.
It's true.
Unless you're like, there's a couple autistic people that I would trust who probably don't have friends, and they're allowed to not have friends.
Yeah.
There's a few special cases.
If you're very special.
If you're very special, you may be able to get away with not having friends.
There is the occasional introvert out there that is real, but most of them are coping. I'm talking
like 1 in 20,000 and 1 in 20,000 introverts.
It's probably not you.
It's definitely not you. Are you autistic and have a 170 IQ? Mm-hmm. No, you're midwit.
And you're not even autistic.
You're screen addicted midwit who thinks they're autistic because they read a fucking Wikipedia article for 2 hours straight.
Well, maybe you're autistic, but you're definitely not autistic enough.
We lost the bird's eye view.
That's fine. We don't really need it. We're about done.
Yeah, I think we wrapped it nicely here.
Yeah.
I hope people enjoy the lore episode.
Yeah, this is something that we've been referencing for a while, and now we are just saying it explicitly.
Yeah. Reference episode 21.
I hope it's useful in whatever way it manages to be useful. I don't know if anyone can necessarily take what we've done and apply it to themselves, but I think maybe there's some abstract lessons that they can take.
I think they can take exactly what we've done and apply it to themselves.
Okay.
I think they can replicate it so easily.
Okay, here's how you build community, all right? You're going to want to have a long line of schizophrenia leading back to Lebanon. And then you're going to want to release the Political Compass rap in April of 2019. You're going to want to meet Brogan, and then you're going to want to move to Toronto.
It has to be outside of Dollarama.
It has to be outside. That's crucial.
It's frame perfect.
Hustlers miss this point frequently.
It's the frame perfect execution of meeting outside the Dollarama.
Yeah. Yeah, I think anyone can do it. I don't know to your point. I think maybe there's probably some financial barrier in terms of like, well, you need to have an apartment, right?
Yeah, there's very small. I mean, people.
You can't be homeless. Actually, homeless people do the community thing just fine.
I think homeless people do community better than most people.
That's true.
You ever sat outside and drank all day with 5 people? It feels fucking amazing. I feel at home.
Yeah.
I feel like I found myself when I do that.
Smoke crack with a guy.
Smoke crack with a guy? Oh my god, that's it.
Yeah.
I actually I feel like most homeless people are probably have way more friends than the average like $90K a year project manager living in Toronto.
I have no opinion on this topic. But yeah. I love you.
I love you too.
And I hope that we continue to work together and do great things and keep building what we're doing, and I'll get $1 billion of technocapital.
$1 billion in technocapital. I think it's only up from here. It is only up from here. I don't think. It just absolutely is. The future's so bright.
For us.
What's the real horseshoe theory here?
I don't know. We're pretty much in agreement here.
I know we're in agreement. Do or do not. There is no try. Doing and doing. Do or do not. Do or do not. That's not. Is there a do or do not horseshoe? Is there?
Yeah, doing and doing not doing is the same thing.
I'm gonna say trying and not doing it. Oh, fuck, dude.
What I'll say is do or do not. There is no die